First, a simple definition. Neuroplasticity is the science of how the mind, which is not material, can change the brain, which is material. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, I find the whole idea of neuroplasticity quite exciting. This is a really big deal. It is suggested that the real organ of healing is not just the body, but it is also of the spirit, the human mind. Martin, please show the first image. The image you see is of the brain of a married 44-year-old French civil servant with 2 children who lives a pretty normal life. As you can see, about 75% of his brain is missing. What brain he has resides as a thin layer covering the inner surface of his skull. He has less specific brain mass than his dog, yet he is able to function as a normal human being. How can he do that? Martin, now please show the second picture. This picture is of a 24-year-old Chinese woman who does not have a cerebellum, the portion of the brain that has 50% of the brain's neural pathways. She should be severely mentally impaired. Yet, except for some dizziness, she is a fully functional human being who is married and has a daughter. All of this flies in the face of current conventional materialist scientific wisdom, which is that the mind is an epiphenomenon of the brain. If, however, neuroplasticity is true, as it seems to be, it suggests that things might be the other way around, and that the brain may, in some sense, be a function of the mind. In the images we just saw, 2 individuals who basically do not have brains still have fully functioning minds. Pretty wild stuff when you add it to the fact that we already know from quantum physics that the mind can cause a wave function to collapse into a particle in certain quantum physics experiments, indicating that consciousness can to some degree change the physical world outside our bodies. Another exciting aspect of neuroplasticity is it means that religious folks have been right all along, that spiritual practices such as prayer, meditation, immersion in nature, study, writing a poem, sewing potholders that make money for the church fund drive, are just being kind, are things that actually do make us better, more compassionate people. Spiritual practice literally changes the world, beginning with the physical structures of our own brains. Neuroplasticity also places an added responsibility on us. What we do with our minds has real world consequences. What we think matters, literally. If we fill our minds with hate, the world becomes more hateful. If we fill our minds with love, understanding, and kindness, we will physically and emotionally become more gracious, compassionate people. It is on us now, it seems. It turns out that the prophets of old were right. If we want to change the world and ourselves for better, we have the power to do it, beginning with loving our neighbors as ourselves, loving our enemies, and praying for those who persecute us. Neuroplasticity also suggests that there may be an answer to the age-old question of whether or not there is agency in the universe. The answer could be yes, there is agency, and that agency is us. Darn it. I was hoping for an easier answer. And now let's move on to our sermon.